So when you're working with people with dementia, considering you've got different stages and your pre-diagnosis as well, the next question really comes into how do you communicate with them? Well, there's all the classic stuff about squatting down, all the rest of that. And I think in some ways to say that is a little bit wooden because it really is dependent on the individual that you're working with. I can think of people that if I squatted down in front of them, I'd have got a kick in the crotch or a punch in the face. So the last thing I would have done is drop down to eye line directly in front of them. In essence, you need to remember that each person is unique, that their abilities and comprehension will change, and you need to be looking for that as you're working with them all the time. You can really expect a slow loss of understanding and comprehension of what's going on around them. And there's sort of vague overlying methodologies of working with dementia, and some have fallen in and out of favour as time has gone on. So one that was classically around in the mid-80s in the UK was something called reality orientation, and that was about dragging people into our reality. If they were looking for a deceased husband, you in essence would tell them that their husband was dead, and you would remind them of that at every point. At the other extreme, you've got something called validation theory, which is rather than dragging them into our world, we enter theirs and we accept it fully. So if they were looking for the deceased husband, you would probably say something on the lines, I'm sure he's going to be along in a minute, I'll give him a call for you, see if he's on his way. And in the middle of the two, you've got something called resolution therapy, which doesn't disagree or agree. It's sort of like a neutral response. Oh, you're looking for your husband. Why don't we go over here and see if we can do some bits in the garden for a moment? So I haven't supported or not supported what's being said. In essence, I actually think that you need to use a combination of the three responses depending on what's happening with the person and what stage of their dementia journey they're in. So there'll be points when it's right to reality orientate. There'll be points when it's absolutely the wrong thing to do. There's points when it's the best thing to do is to validate what they say. Equally, there may be some points where that'll be completely the wrong thing to do. So the trick is figuring out which is which, and that links into the progression of the different dementias. So some dementias are more or less like Alzheimer's, is a sort of straight down progression with loss of ability and communication skills. So you start off with a little bit of reality orientation in the early days, and probably by sort of the mid stages you'll be moving into validation more. Something like vascular dementia, where people go along, have a little mini stroke, lose ability and then pop back up, is you'd be reality orientation, validation, back into reality orientation, and you would do that for as long as that worked. So in essence, what I'm saying is it's not one approach, it's about applying the right approaches at the right time with the person. And I can't give you that on a video. Half of that is actually working with people and learning to do it, sometimes getting it right, sometimes getting it wrong. I hope that helps, and I'll give you some other bits as we go along.